Over the river and through the woods to Grandmother's house we go. But Grandmother lives in a cabin in the woods that doesn't have any running water, so she poops in a bucket, and all she has to eat is homemade beef jerky. And we still haven't seen Grandpa in months. We're going back to the cabin in this episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast.
Attention planet Earth and beyond. Stay tuned for Attack of the Killer Podcast. 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 That's time for the show. Yay.
What?
Welcome to another amazing episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast. For one last summer fling of fun, camping out in a cabin in the woods. I'm your forest ranger, Insane Mike, and this is episode 294 called Back to the Cabin. Now, what we do here at Attack of the Killer Podcast is we discuss horror movies, and we're a group of friends. They all have a common bond, and that is our love for horror. And we get together with a topic and talk about films within that topic. So we're just friends, hanging out, talking. So there may be spoilers.
I thought it was about it's our love for tacos that really brought us together.
That's true.
Okay.
That's where it really all started, yeah. You know what would be great?
What's that?
If the listeners would join our Patreon. However, I just want to state that we don't think of it as Patreon, as it is actually what we consider joining the Attack of the Killer Podcast family. And when you do, you become what we call an attacker. Now, being an attacker is more than just supporting the show. You get all kinds of perks for joining. You get exclusive content, such as bonus episodes, our YouTube shows like video updates, Insane Mike's Women in the Top 10 list, and killer critiques. You get merch as well, like your very own membership card and certificate and sticker. Original art by me called Mikey's Monsters, or you can even get an Attack of the Killer Podcast t-shirt. When we say that an attacker is part of our family, we mean it. You get access to our monthly horror hangouts, watch parties, and become part of our exclusive chat called Attack of the Killer Chat. You will also even get shout-outs on the website and the show, just like these amazing tackers right here.
All right, we have Timothy Lennerer, Roman Doppelfeld, Larry Wantabi, Brett Royer, Seth Key, Jessica Irish, Chris Cook, Brian Godsill, Stefan Sitter, Brandy Moore, Andrew Moeller, Rod Hutchinson, Carmen D. Haig, Abraham Ariano, Jacob Book, Andrew Bentler, Casey Kelderman, Tony Miller, Mike Clayton, Rose Talashoma, Marcus Rude, Abe Kirshner, Lisa Cavalier, Holly Berg, Emily Randolph, Bill Fisher, and Greg Dietrich.
And you too can become an attacker by going to jointheattackers.com. You pick the tier that best suits you to get the content you want, and you become part of the Attack of the Killer Podcast family. That site, again, is jointheattackers.com. Don't put spaces in it like I just did. It's it's all one.
JoinTheAttackers.com.
Perfect. And now it's time to introduce you to the podcast crew. He's always asking the philosophical questions like, if a podcaster records his show alone in the woods, does he make a sound? Jason!
Those are very good questions. Hey, everybody, thanks for listening. Happy you're here.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm happy I'm here too.
Yes.
He sold his cabin in the woods to Bigfoot, and Bigfoot paid him in cryptocurrency. Tad, everybody!
Not bad, not bad. Hey, guys.
Well, God, not bad.
It's not good, but it's not bad.
All right, fine. Well, then I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to turn it over to Tad for what we watched.
All right, let's just kick it right off. Jason, what have you watched lately?
Oh man, I've been trying, guys. I've been trying real hard to pick up the pace, get some things watched, and it's
Doing
been
better than
going
me.
well.
And
When was the last day we recorded? Man, it's been
It's been
so
a
long.
while, so.
Did I talk about the Ninja Turtle movie? I think so.
I think you did.
I'll skip ahead to the big hits here. Renfield, finally got to watch that.
Oh,
That was
nice.
pretty
And
great. I
you
liked it. I liked
I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Nicholas Hoult guy. He's great.
What about the Nicolas Cage guy?
Yeah, he's fine. No, he's good. Did I? Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, I like Aquafina as a comedian and in some roles. I'm not sure that she was any good in this movie.
Uh-oh.
I don't like her in anything. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I did not. What was the Shang-Chi
Yeah.
thought she
Marvel
was
movie she's
fine.
in? I thought she was god awful in that.
But yeah, she was this cop lady, and she just wasn't convincing as it.
And just didn't even needed. Like I completely
Yeah,
forgot
also
until you
true.
brought up that she was in it. I forgot she was in it.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 finally came to Disney Plus.
Fucking sad, right?
Yeah, it's a bummer. Y'all, I mean, like, I tried to stay away from all the spoilers, and sure, it's sad. Like, I expected like half the team to die, so at least that didn't happen.
That was
Not that
kind
I'm
of my
disappointed that they didn't.
that was
but-
kind of my takeaway too. I'm like, okay, everybody's saying it's super sad. I
Uh-huh.
gotta be ready for it, and sure it is, but the
Absolutely.
expectation for sadness was built up too much.
But yeah, the Rocket story is a sad one, and all
Yeah, I
that
thought-
stuff with the animals, obviously.
All that was sad. But I will say, just you saying, I mean, spoilers if you haven't seen it, hit pause for 30 seconds. But not killing like the characters, I'm like, well, James Gunn, like you're leaving Marvel.
to fuck up your shit.
Yeah, so like,
Yeah.
give us some, and to bring back Gamora was weak to me. Like, for what reason? So that Star-Lord could get over her? Like, it just felt like.
Don't even get me started on the whole Gamora thing, just in general. Ever
just so
since,
just
ever
so
since
stupid.
Endgame, like
Yeah.
that time travel nonsense.
I'm telling you, time
It,
travel.
it was
sucks.
well, it was cool. Like the first time we saw it, and now it just like basically means there's no rules anymore.
Yep.
Yep.
It erases all
movies.
consequences.
Yep, and it did say there at the end, Star-Lord will return.
Yeah, so we're getting more Star Lord. Yay!
Woo,
Chris Pratt. We don't get enough of him on screen, right?
I finally got to see Asteroid City, Wes Anderson's new movie. I'm a gigantic Wes Anderson fan, as you probably would have guessed. And I 100% loved it. I think I remembered Tad saying it's too much of all the things that he does, but man, I wanted it all. It was the subject matter, the storyline, the characters were just cool as shit, and I was like, couldn't get enough of his kick-ass style.
Let's be real. It's just Nope for hipsters.
What? Oh, why do you have to say things like that? And then, lastly, I loved Asteroid City. It's what I got put 4.5 stars on that.
Even my like least favorite Wes Anderson movie is better than like most people's best movie. So
Right. And then, speaking of depressing, I made it to the theater and I saw Oppenheimer. Yeah, I loved it, obviously, because
Logan Paul walked out of it because it was just people talking.
Okay.
okay.
I mean, we know how it ends, so it's like
yeah, we knew the ending,
like Titanic, man. Like all they did was talk.
right? I mean, and it's so I'll be happy to say it that I do not, us language kids, I do not suck the Christopher Nolan dick, and I don't really like his Batman movies. And I didn't.
Whoa, I didn't know
think,
that.
I didn't think he's even that great of a director necessarily.
Ah, yay.
I have
But-
I have reasons I hate it, and
but
so I
he-
was. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, but he has Florence Pugh naked in this movie, so
And that helps, sure. But there were anyway. I was hesitant. I was hesitant about the direction, and I really ended up, I think, liking it a lot. There's there's some definite style to it. there were. I went with Holly, and she was really nervous. One, about not having to pee in the middle of it, but then second, because it's 3 hours long, and so but she was nervous, like, this is going to get boring at some point. 3 hours of talking, right? And at the end, she was just like, I can't believe that it was 3 hours of intensity. And it's just nerve-wracking intensity, knowing the ending, but just the way they did it, the scenes were just relentless. And there were a couple sequences that were just like, would not fucking relent, and it just grabbed you and took you along and was incredible. And it's definitely in the filmmaking, the way I props to Nolan on the way he did it for a movie about people talking. And you know me, I love movies about smart people, smart movies. Obviously, it's one of the smartest guys that ever lived, and Einstein's in it a bunch too. And I mean, halfway through the movie, I'm like, am I smart enough to even understand this movie? Should I just leave? I don't know, but I hung in there, and it, eventually made sense. Just so many names, and they don't hold your hand with any of the history and all of that. You just like hang on and just go for the ride. And maybe most of all, I mean, the score is amazing, but the sound editing is going to win the Oscar. If anything wins for this movie, it's going to be the sound editing. Imagine being
finally got
creative
it?
with a nuclear explosion sequence and all that goes with big bangs and stuff like that. That's where I was like beyond impressed, on top of just a really kick-ass movie. I loved it. Oppenheimer, that's what I watched.
I keep hearing people talk about, like, because of the way our pop culture has sort of turned Einstein into
The
like
Einstein thing,
yeah, people are like, it's jarring to see him because like we picture him on like posters with his tongue out or on like t-shirts smoking a joint or a bong, and it's like,
Really?
wait, I forgot he was a real fucking person that
Oh my gosh.
talked to Oppenheimer.
People are
It's a real
fucking
thing
kids.
because there's so much generational gap between the real Albert Einstein
Yeah.
and all of these like college dorm room posters of Einstein having his tongue sticking out or stupid stuff.
That's fucking dumb. And he's not even in it that much. He plays, important parts, and the character who plays him was awesome, but that's dumb. Fucking kids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you'll watch it, Mike, but Tad probably will if you haven't yet.
Yeah, I wanted to go, and then it was out of LDX. I'm like, you can't get me to sit in a regular ass theater seat for 3 hours.
Oh, come on. You're such a snub. It's
So I need to
awesome.
find like a 70 millimeter screening. But
There you go.
a friend of mine, Chris, shout out Chris, who never listens to this.
Fuck him.
Yeah,
Also. Him.
he has been trying to get tickets for this thing in 70 millimeter since the release, and he finally got tickets at 2:45 a.m. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you mean PM, right? He's like, no, this movie is selling out every showing, so they just keep adding. Like, it basically plays 24 hours at their like
Jesus.
their local theater that has 70 millimeter IMAX. So they just like, it literally just loops 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So whenever it's like one ends and they spool it back up and it's ready to go again at 2:45 a.m. And that's the only showing he could finally get tickets for a month after it's been out.
Be a hell of a way to see it, though. That's
Oh
for
yeah.
sure.
But I've heard other people are like, there's only so many people trained on these old film projectors, so they're having like, they show up for a 70 millimeter showing, they drove 3 hours out of town for, and they're
no.
like, sorry, we can't figure out what's wrong with the projector, so we're just playing a DCP tonight. And other people who have seen both versions are like, I think the DCP looks better than the actual film. I guess it matters, like, depends on the projector, but it's like, I don't know. I mean, you should have something to say about that, Jason. It's like vinyl versus digital, right?
Right. That's why I'm way for DCP. Give me the best quality possible. Give me all the fidelity.
Yes.
I wish to be fidelitous.
Did you sit in a regular ass theater at?
I did in Ottumwa.
Did you bring like a seat cushion?
Didn't need it. My button didn't even recognize the tiredness.
Your butt wasn't even on the seat.
That's
you were on
right.
because you were on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Exactly.
In fairness, our theater upgraded their seating.
Yeah, they have
So,
great seats, recliners.
yeah,
It's
got the
it's awesome.
recliners, so.
Hey, that's what I watched.
All right, Mike, what did you watch?
Okay, I'll start off with kind of wanted to see.
Go ahead.
Kind of wanted to
I just
see.
need to come back.
Okay, you want to go ahead?
Well, I forgot. Remember yesterday I told you I had a surprise.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I've been
And,
waiting with bated breath.
I
on what my
know.
surprise
There's one
is.
more thing I watched. The first season of Righteous Gemstones.
About damn time.
You got him.
You
About
got
time.
me.
Did Michelle want to watch it, or
No,
did somebody else
no,
tell you?
it was all
like, "Hey,
me.
you should see this"?
And I'm sitting there on the couch scrolling through every fucking app I have, and I'm just like, that damn thing keeps popping up, and I'm like, do I give him a gift?
That
I
is the
just do
best
it?
gift ever.
I fucking did it. And
Listening to me.
I mean, I was done with the first season maybe a week ago, and I've been waiting to just tell you about it. I didn't want to start the next one, but
Yeah, fuck my turn. I want to hear what you thought of Righteous Gemstones. Go ahead.
well, here's the thing.
Uh-oh.
I should also pay more attention to you when you're telling me what you watched, because I wasn't prepared. I guess
Which part?
I thought it was good.
A lot of all the male penis.
No,
Goggins, right?
who's that? Walter Goggins.
But then there's this guy.
No, I thought it was going to be a comedy.
It is.
No,
It is.
you are misleading. It's so much more than a comedy.
Oh, it's more than a comedy. Yeah.
It's not a comedy. It's a drama.
Oh my god.
That's
It's fucking
got
hilarious,
funny.
and you
No,
can't
it
tell
is.
me-
It's absolute. It is hilarious.
You can't. You can tell me
It's a
that's more
drama.
drama over comedy.
It's
That's
a dra-
bull.
Are you kidding me? Do you know what happens in that first fucking season? It's madness. The drama that
It's-
happens in that family.
Yes.
Which
Comedic madness.
comedic, sure, but like I was off-putting to me that it wasn't that there was so much drama that it wasn't a sitcom. It is not a sitcom.
Oh no.
Well, it's HBO.
but-
I mean, it's HBO, dude. It has to be like.
I know, but like it's on me for not listening to you guys enough, maybe. But like, and so besides that, and then with that, that gets me is then the drama part is not catching a break shit that I hate. That family
but
yeah,
they kind of deserve it. Most of the time.
maybe, but like, gosh dang, who do you root
That's
for
what-
in that show?
John
Goggins.
Goodman.
No, he's the
Goggins.
biggest piece of shit out of all of them.
John Goodman. Well, I'm trying to remember
Goodman's
the first.
no good. They're
Trying to
all
remember the first season.
Goggins.
You kind of learn how darker Goodman's character is as the show progresses. as
they're
the
all
seasons
shits.
go
The only
on,
one
but
I like's the young one, really.
Who? Goggins?
No, stop saying that.
Adam Levine.
Yes, that guy. And even the guy I liked the most in first season got kicked out.
Goggins?
The pool boy. He's my favorite, really.
The pool boy.
The young guy's friend.
Yeah,
The
Goggins.
Satanist.
Oh.
The Satanist.
Yeah, Goggins. Yeah.
And way to make me
Wait,
regret
what do you mean
saying
he got kicked out? Because he's not in.
At the end of season 1, everyone flips out, and he's like, "You gotta leave. I assume he comes back because he was.
Yeah, he's in all the seasons.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was clearly temporary, but
Yeah. Well, my favorite character that I root for is Danny in all the seasons. Even though his part is way less in the second season, but kind of comes back around in the third, and that is Danny McBride's oldest son, the exiled one.
Oh, yeah.
That is basically the cause of all the dark
Right.
plot of the first season.
right.
That, and I just like that actor.
Yeah,
'Cause
he's great.
He was awesome on Santa Clara Diet.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so whatever y'all saying plus Ted is, I just wasn't prepared for a lot of the.
And that tarnished it for you, your enjoyment, or
I just wasn't ready. I almost stopped it after a couple episodes because I'm just like, this isn't This isn't a sitcom like I thought it was going to be. This isn't a comedy. It's funny, just
I
the
thought you.
situations are dark and not funny.
I still find it all hilarious, but regardless, I guess I'm a sick fuck. But
We know.
I thought if anything would cause you to turn it off is just how awful these characters are, and it's so weird that I'm so captivated by these characters and wanting them to win, even though they're pieces of crap that deserve everything that they get. So I don't
I don't know
understand.
that I want them to win. Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, you're still following their story,
I know.
their stories.
So I
and
feel like a hostage and not like a wee. So yeah, it's not all yucks for me.
Do you think you'll continue?
I don't know. That's why I left it at a stopping point. I mean, we'll see how desperate I get for something to watch. And
If you get desperate, I would recommend over every other BS that I've recommended on this show that you don't listen to me on, is that
Right.
freaking that I'm blanking now, that series about the making of The Godfather.
I know. It just didn't pop up.
That
the
one I
last
really
time.
feel like it's a Jason show.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what. Hey, I watched something that you told me to watch.
Yay,
It's
I'm so
never happened
happy.
before.
I'm so excited.
Okay.
Mike, what did you watch? Anything Jason recommended to
Fuck
you?
no, he never does.
It's only fair. I guess I'll have to watch something now. What I watched, well, okay, so I heard that Alex Winter has that new documentary out about YouTube, and so I wanted to check it out, but it's not free anywhere right now. So
Ironic, it's not on YouTube.
yeah, right. So I decided I wanted to fill some gaps in the Alex Winter filmography and his documentary filmography, and I had never seen Showbiz Kids from 3 years ago, 2020. So I thought I'd check it out, and it's okay. It's not bad. It doesn't really give me anything new, I felt. I mean, it definitely has some interesting and shocking perspectives of being a child actor from a lot of child celebrities. But it's still pretty good. It's no Zappa. Anyway, then I also watched on the airplane on the way home from Vegas. I watched Black Adam.
As the director
Nice.
intended.
Yeah.
I know, right? Yeah.
Can't wait to watch Oppenheimer on a flight.
Gross.
Need something to fall asleep to.
Shut your face.
Anyway, but Black Adam, it's fine. It's good. It's got a lot of cool action and some good little comedy. I think The Rock, I love his portrayal of Black Adam, and it is a little disconnecting when like your main character is so powerful that there is literally nothing that can stop him.
Like all Superman movies ever.
Even Superman has his moments of losing a fight, and it was from what I've heard and read, it was in his contract not to lose a fight in this movie.
Doesn't surprise me.
And so where's the tension? Where's the stakes? Thank you.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you don't have to worry about it because he's done. So
I guess, but I don't
What
think it was.
happened?
Well, it's just the movie flopped, so
Oh,
there'd be no
and
return.
yeah, everything.
you said it like The Rock was canceled or something.
No, just
Okay.
well, he came out and was like crying about it and how the studio doomed it and all this shit. And it's like, I mean, they sort of did by announcing like James Gunn's starting over, so these next 3 movies
Don't
do
count.
not matter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. It's unfortunate. It doesn't deserve to be a flop. It's not the best superhero movie, but
But like,
wasn't
how
bad.
do you even get motivated to watch it knowing that there's like that it is like finite, like there's nothing coming after it. That's it for the character.
because it's its own movie. It's not like it's not like one chapter of a
It's a 2-hour chunk of entertainment.
bigger movie. You know.
Well, see,
It
for
could
me,
st-
that's
that stuff
literally
can still stand on its own as far as I'm concerned. And sometimes
They should.
sometimes when it is part of a connected universe and I don't care for it as much, I have to tell myself it's a movie on its own and not worry about it being connected to a bigger thing.
See, that's my only motivation to get this far in the Marvel thing is like I've invested all this goddamn time. I have to fucking watch them, and now I'm sort of out. So
And there's only really two connecting threads to the DC movies, and unless you are following it, it doesn't matter. But like, the Wizard from the Shazam movies is in it because Black Adam is connected to the Shazam family and all that, same powers and same origin basically. And then that actress that plays Amanda Waller and all the current DC stuff, she shows up. But again, it's not like, hey, remember, I'm Amanda Waller. Remember that time I did this in Batman versus Superman? So it's just a character that if you know, you don't, it's not going to matter.
Regardless of the end of how the movie ends up, for the movie, I loved the shit out of it for like witnessing an all-powerful motherfucker kick some ass. Like that was
all
awesome.
that action stuff was
The
fun
was
and
so
awesome.
good.
And it's just like every time they like pause from the action, and then it's like Hawkman gets pissed off again and hits him with the mace, and shit starts all over again, and then it's another brawl. So the action's great. It's very thin on story and plot, but and character development, but all the action stuff is awesome, and I think it's worth the price of admission for that.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't pay admission, so you obviously don't feel that way.
It
but
was 1,000% worth how much I put into it.
watching it on the back of a seat in an airplane.
Oh, it wasn't even that. It was on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
my.
And I had to watch it. I had to watch it in blocks because the movie was longer than my flights. Like,
Jesus.
because I had a connecting flight, I had to finish it on the second flight.
I saw a meme where someone figured out how to play one of Christopher Nolan's movies on a pregnancy test on like one of the little screens on a pregnancy test.
Jesus. Just to piss him off to the
Yep.
max. Wow. There is no smaller screen.
Oh, that's
fucking
awesome.
funny.
All right, so I also watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yay!
It was awesome. I don't know. We've already talked about it, so I don't know what else to
You
say.
can give your feedback on it.
I thought it was great. I mean, it's kind of hard to do wrong on that franchise, especially when it's still the same guy who's done the other two films. So, and he's pretty protective of that property. So I feel like it was definitely way more character driven than the others, which was great.
Yep. Do you see it, Tad?
Yes, I saw it in theaters.
I
Not
thought
Not on a phone or whatever.
without spoiling the ending on who dies and doesn't, but near the end, when Star-Lord's in trouble, I thought they fucking pushed the line on like what's cool to show kids and what isn't. When
This had
he
had an F-bomb in it.
well,
Yeah,
that,
it
but
does,
like
but-
he started bloating and turning, like it was fucking
Oh,
disgusting.
Turning
I see what
inside
you're saying.
out, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I can't believe they were showing that for fucking kids. Like I
Well,
thought they pushed it on that.
Yeah, James Gunn, man.
It's
His
gross.
trauma root's coming out.
Yeah. And Lloyd was in there. Did you see old Lloyd
Oh yeah, yep.
playing cards with Howard the Duck?
As
Yep.
you do.
Yeah, so I thought it was great. It was cool to see characters like Cosmo get a little bit more screen
Yeah.
time.
Cosmo was awesome.
And just expanding not just the Guardians, but that whole universe.
Is that
I
douchebag
just love
gold
it.
kid in real?
Yeah, Adam Warlock.
Okay.
Pretty much the same origin per se.
Undefeatable guy.
Yeah, but he's definitely not a whiny little mama's boy bitch in the comics as he is in the movie.
He's funny.
Yeah, it was really good. Best part is there was an Alice Cooper song in it.
Like
more
a
obscure
deep cut.
one. Yeah, a deep cut, exactly, yeah.
The music this go around for the most part was like way deeper cuts. Like I felt like this movie in
You
general
stole
was
the good ones.
more. Yeah, well, I think it was just James Gunn being more personal. Like this is
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
swan song, so he made it more character driven, more dark and serious, and had deeper cuts. It wasn't
Yep.
like the first one was sort of like a breakthrough for Marvel, where it was like, this is weird and funny and crazy and zany. Like this is the first sort of its own, and and then they got Taika to come in and did his funny Thors, and we've had sort of a zany thing since then. But like this was still had James Gunn signatures on it, but was much more of a personal James Gunn film.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And yeah, the animal stuff is definitely super, super sad and whatnot. But I got a little choked up right there at the end, a little with the new Guardians and just the idea of the
team.
wraparound of the whole three films going out on the same song we came in on in the first film. I thought was an awesome touch.
Yep.
So, yeah. Anyway, well, one more thing I want to bring up because I feel like I have to do a retraction from my last what we watched
Bum, bum, bum.
because I mentioned that, and so when I talk about shows, I try to not always talk about the shows I've been watching unless I finished it. And I made the mistake of breaking my rule with Twisted Metal, and here's why I usually wait till I finish it. Because I talked about how Sweet Tooth was only going to be in like a couple of episodes. He's in the whole goddamn thing. IMDb flat out lies about how many episodes some of these actors are in. Because Sweet Tooth is throughout the whole thing, and he is by far the most fun character in that show. But so we finished Twisted Metal. It was definitely a lot of fun. I recommend it. I'm just kind of shocked that it hasn't been getting more attention than it has.
Well, it said it's Peacock's biggest show by far.
Oh, okay. Well,
they've
that's
ever
good.
had. So yeah, but that's not saying much because what else can you think of anything else Peacock's had?
Well, that's true. I was just kind of expecting like the Last of Us level of attention, that kind of thing. Because it's by the Deadpool guys, so it definitely has a ton of action, way too much gore and a lot of comedy, and it's just a fun ride and a great setup for another season that actually will tie into the games more than this movie did, which I thought was pretty cool. But that's what I watched.
Cool.
What about you, Tad?
My list is short but sweet. I was
We'll
trying to
see.
figure out when we last recorded. I will not reveal that out loud, but since then, I believe I haven't talked about this one. A24's newest horror movie, Talk to Me.
Right.
Oh no, you haven't talked about that one yet.
Man, this movie fucking rules. I mean, going into it, it checked off all the boxes for me already. Like A24 and horror, I'm in. But little did I knew nothing. I saw some teasers, but I tried to avoid all trailers. I saw the hand that's on the poster and in the trailers. It's like a ceramic looking hand. Knew nothing about it. Went in pretty much blind. It's been a while since I saw Nikki recoil in horror during a movie, so it's got that going for it. I keep telling people it's like the Australian child of It Follows and Hereditary, but like that's a bad sell because I hate when people compare movies to others.
Yeah.
Just in tone that it's
That dark.
it's dark and fucked up and serious. It's like Dread. There's not humor in it doesn't have much if any humor in this thing. The basic story is like it's a group of teenagers. One of them has lost their mom, and dad is like an alcoholic, lost mom to suicide. So like she sort of stays with her best friend as a family member almost. But they're a group of friends. They find this like ceramic hand, and it's like a viral challenge. You put it on the table. They tie you up to a chair, and you enter. You like touch this hand and say, "Talk to me," and you can see the other side, sort of like a Ouija board, but you can see it clearly. And so they at first think this is really fun, and it's a fun thing to do at parties. And they quickly, but there are rules to it. If you can't stay in that realm for more than 90 seconds, or you risk being attached to this realm forever. And when this girl with a very traumatic past tries it, things start to go bad. And there's a scene I will not spoil, but holy fuck, it's disgusting and brutal and dark and scary. And
You had me at disgusting.
yeah, and so it already has a sequel confirmed. Talk to me. But this is it's so cool. It's like an Australian horror movie. I think it's short. It was like 90 minutes. It's just like good old fashioned, really great horror. Really good performances. Not one face you'll recognize.
Yes.
Yeah, I just loved it. Original, good hardcore horror. If you don't like A24, don't let that chase you away. It is beautifully shot and has a great score, but it's not artsy. It's just a cool, old school, scary horror movie.
Awesome.
Other than that, for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Day, I threw on the old Texas Chainsaw, the original in 4K, just to check out the disc, and I got a new surround sound receiver, so I always had to test it out, and that 4K restoration is beautiful.
Nice.
Awesome.
And then the last thing, I went to the theaters over the weekend and saw Strays.
Oh, yeah. Is that any good?
It was hilarious.
Good.
I wanted to see the last voyage of the Dementor, which is like the new hardcore vampire film, but like life sort of sucked lately, and I just wanted to go watch a dumb comedy movie.
Yeah.
So Strays is the new movie about stray dogs, played by Will Ferrell, Jamie Foxx, Isla Fisher, and Randall Park. Will Forte plays the human character. There's Brett Gelman, Rob Riggle, Sofia Vergara, Dennis Quaid's in it as himself, which is really weird.
I saw him in the trailer. Referring to himself as himself, yeah.
Yeah, Josh Gad. So basically, this is like a very, very hardcore R-rated Air Buds. Will Ferrell plays the lead dog, Reggie, who's owned by this loser, Will Forte, known as Doug. Doug treats his dog like shit, but Reggie is too dumb, because he's a dog, to understand that Will Forte is treating him like shit. So when Doug drives Reggie like 5 hours out of town, throws a tennis ball, and drives away, he's on a journey to make it back home. He runs into other stray dogs who are played by Jamie Foxx and Isla Fisher and Randall Park, and they sort of start on this journey. They convince him, like, you know, they break the news to him that his owner is a piece of shit, didn't love him. So now they're on a new journey to make it back to bite his dick off. So it's like Homeward Bound with a dick biting at the end. And it's so good. Like, it's just disgusting, dumb, immature, childish humor. I mean, dick and fart and poop jokes, the whole thing. But it has to have broken whatever fuck record was held before. Because Jamie Foxx, I don't think he has a single line without fucking it in this movie.
Wow.
And there were people with, like, bringing the families in.
I
Yeah.
knew it. I knew it was going to happen.
And
Even
this
though
isn't
it's just flat out R right in the trailer.
right, and they tried to push that in the trailer and the posters, because the opening scene is like getting to know Reggie and Will Forte. Let's see what his name was, Doug. And so the whole idea is like Reggie is this dumb dog, and he's like, the only thing Doug loves more than me is his penis. He's always shaving it, he's sneezing out of it, he's playing with it. And every time I try to play with it, he pushes me off the couch, you know, and it's like shows him like jerking off to porn. It shows him like shaving his nuts. I mean, it's like, and you know, it's disgusting. It's adult humor. And I'm like, then that's in the first minute, literally opens with that. And I'm just like thinking like, oh my God, like how uncomfortable does this family next to me have to be? They brought like 7 and 8 year olds. Like,
Jesus.
oh my God. And they didn't leave.
Oh my God, for real?
For real. And I mean, there's scenes of like dog boners and dogs fucking and dogs. It's just, yeah. So, but it's hilarious. I thought it, I mean, if you like immature, dumb humor, it's very
like dog
simple.
boners.
Yeah.
Get to
There's a scene where a dog tries to use his boner to take the keys off a wall at a pound. It's pretty funny. Because I think it's Randall Park plays this failed police dog that wears a cone all the time, and he has a huge dick. And they talk his whole characteristic is that he has a huge dick, and they show it over and over and over again in the movie. And that's the scene where they're like, "Come on, Randall, use your boner," and they're trying to get him up, and the one dog's talking dirty to him. His crush is, yeah.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
It is so funny and so stupid, and I highly recommend it. It's probably not a must-watch in theaters, but I imagine it's going to hit streaming pretty quick, and yeah, that's what I watched.
Awesome.
Well, thanks, Tad.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so let's talk about some cabins in the woods type movies here. Back to the cabins. Let's go with Tad. What's our first film?
Our first film is Neil Marshall's Dog Soldiers.
Those things out there are real. If they're real, what else is real? You may never get another night's sleep as long as you live.
Now, as of this moment, as far as we're concerned, we are 50k behind enemy lines. Now, expect nothing less than gratuitous violence from the lot of you.
Every year, more and more people come through here. Every once in a while, they don't come back. Captain?
You've got to get me out of here.
Looks like they got hit hard and fast. Every magazine is full.
From here on in, the exercise is over.
Exactly what is it we're fighting against?
Lycanthropes.
That's werewolves to you and me.
You came here because of them, right?
This is supposed to be a routine training exercise, and that's all.
Trick to survival lies not in running and hiding. Salvage whatever weapons you can find and stand to.
Shut down the generator.
Why would they do that?
Because they can see in the dark.
And you're afraid of it.
There was only supposed to be one! Tore them to pieces is in front of my eyes!
Honestly, what are our chances?
So, if little Red Riding Hood should show up with a bazooka and a bad attitude, I expect you to tin the bitch.
You're bloody loving this, aren't you?
Terry, while you're at it, stick the kettle on. Could all do with a brew.
I literally don't even know what they just said in that last line. But during a routine nighttime training mission in the Scottish Highlands, a small squad of British soldiers expected to rendezvous with a special ops unit instead find a bloody massacre with a sole survivor. The savage attackers of the special ops team return, and the men are rescued by Megan, a zoologist who identifies what hunts them as werewolves. Without transport or communications, the group is forced to retreat to a farmhouse to wait for the full moon to disappear at dawn. So this is the sort of big movie that broke Neil Marshall into the mainstream. He never really lived up to it. Okay, The Descent is great. But this is one that I believe, was this actually like went straight to TV, I believe? Was this like aired on Sci-Fi Channel or something?
I don't remember. Maybe?
It wasn't in the trivia, but I swear I remember when I discovered this movie back in the day, people were like, this is like one of the coolest like straight to TV or video movies. But either way, I remember blind buying this on DVD way back when I started getting into horror. I mean, I know this is going to shock people, but 2002, I was like a sophomore in high school. So it was a big deal, but it still holds up pretty well. It looks like shit.
Yeah.
Pretty damn fuzzy, but I mean, it's sort of that era where it was things were moving from like film to digital, and just not the greatest looking film. And I'm just not really into the militant part of it. But goddamn, these werewolves are violent. They're awesome, gory, violent, visceral,
Practical.
Yeah, practical, not CGI, which especially at this time, 2002 would have been truly awful. What do you? I like it. I don't love it. I think there's a lot of people who really, really love it. I like it, just don't love it. What do you guys think?
I just looked it up on Wikipedia because they usually have production notes in Wikipedia, and it does say it was for the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, isn't that
So
wild?
that's where it premiered. Yeah, yeah. So it does kind of make a little more sense. I really like this movie. I've always been a big campaigner for this movie, but it's been forever since I've seen it. Now rewatching it, yeah, it definitely wears its budget and Sci-Fi Channel-ness on its sleeve. Yeah, it's not a pretty looking film. You can kind of tell in some of the editing, like where they're cutting corners budget wise with some of the action, some of the effects. But man, I still love the werewolves, and it is cool. They're just big anthropomorphic werewolves that are just imposing and very, very, very cool looking. I like the soldier aspect of it a lot, and just being trapped in this cabin, and who's a werewolf, who's not. I don't know. It's good.
Yeah, I maybe Mike, you'll remember better, but I thought saw this when it came out, and remember back in the day when we lived on, we had the PF house, and like we just met Flyboy,
Yeah.
and I feel like Flyboy was like, guys, I found this bootleg of this movie, and like, because he used to come up and we would watch things, like The Eye in the Ring, Japanese versions of the original, bootlegs and stuff, and we'd have little bootleg parties, and I thought this one was like right in those early days when we were doing that, and Flyboy's the biggest champion of this movie that I know of, and because of that, I definitely love it too. I know you guys are saying it looks bad, but it's not. For anyone who hasn't seen it, it's not bad. It's just the film, the film quality. It's not the filming quality. It's literally just a little too grainy. The quality of the film was shot on something that doesn't up-res worth a shit.
Well, Shout just put out a 4K of it.
Yeah, so maybe that's better.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know if it'd be better or worse.
Or worse.
Have you Ghostbusters in 4K is rough because of how much film grain there is.
And as I watch this, I wonder those things. I'm like, is this as good as it is because it looks shitty? Like you always say, it hides the stuff.
Hides the seams. Yeah.
But it definitely gives it that. To me, it still has that indie film, go get 'em heart that you love seeing in films, and it looks just like a bunch of friends on a weekend just going to town and doing a great fucking job at it. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know where you guys stand on what werewolves you prefer, the kind that stand on 2 legs or on 4 legs, if you have a preference. But yeah, these are more of the man style standing up, but
upright, but still wolf looking. Those are my favorites.
Yeah, super huge shoulder heads, but they have the, at the time it was like, what? How did they get? Because they were standing on the backwards legs at the bottom, and we're like, what the fuck is that? Mm-hmm. But it's clearly practical. It can't not be practical.
Yeah.
And they're like, what is happening? And in 2002, our little minds were blown, and stilts are a thing.
And that's the thing. Like, I think, the values kind of diminished over the years just because, like, at the time we had never seen anything like it, especially a modern werewolf film.
Yep.
That was all practical, had some cool gore, amazing looking werewolves that defied practicality, just those big stilted werewolves. Yeah, and but like as we've seen more stuff, it's kind of, it doesn't hold the same weight. It's still a great film, still amazing, still worthy of putting Neil Marshall on the map and everything.
Absolutely.
But not just this time around. It wasn't like that same first experience. I mean, it's never gonna be, right? But
Yep. And then it had been so long since I'd seen it, I didn't remember that Liam Cunningham was in it, who everyone loves from this Dragon show. May have heard of it on Game of Thrones. But yeah, so
RuPaul's Drag Race?
no Dragon, Game of Thrones. He's an awesome character. You guys suck. Yeah, so it was cool to see him like a young man in this movie. So that was really cool.
I know you like him young, so yeah.
Oh, I'm done here.
Can we talk about how Neil Marshall did like 2 other good things? And come on, man, like
what's the other
He
good
did-
thing besides Descent? I just
he did
curious
the
what you
Descent,
think.
and he went from Dog Soldiers, good, the
Yeah.
Descent, great,
Amazing.
Doomsday, pretty damn good,
Okay, Doomsday. Yeah, Doomsday is probably. I really like that film too.
and then he went to Centurion. Never seen it.
Haven't seen it.
He ended up directing an episode of Black Sails and that show Jason just mentioned, Game of Thrones. He directed 2 episodes.
Oh yeah, he did do some of that. Yeah.
The Constantine TV series. He directed 1 episode of Hannibal, which, okay.
Is
He did a segment of Tales of Halloween. Not so good. Timeless, never heard of it. Westworld, another HBO show, so probably pretty good. He did a TV movie called Poor Richard's Almanac. Doesn't even have a poster on IMDb. Directed an episode of Lost in Space. He did the horrible Hellboy reboot.
That's
Still
what the
haven't
one I
seen
was
that.
trying to think of. I know he had a film that was more modern. I couldn't.
And he's done The Reckoning and The Lair in the last 2020 and 2022, which I've
Just those
heard
posters don't look good.
even from Brian Clark went on I think a very long rant about The Lair, maybe, or I don't remember which one, but I think it was The Lair because he was like, "What the fuck happened to Neil Marshall?"
Oh,
Because I think that's an alien monster
it
movie.
looks like an alien monster.
I don't
Yeah.
know. He spent too much time doing TV for.
Air Force in Afghanistan. Oh boy, biological weapons.
maybe just doing these as gigs rather than. But that one's written by him too, so I don't know, man.
It's tough to
But-
say. I don't know.
He still has more great movies than most directors, so.
Yeah.
true.
This and The Descent alone, Doomsday is pretty good too, but this and The Descent are both like they put him up there.
Did you ever see Doomsday, Jason?
I don't remember.
Okay, it's really good, but it's just tonally all over the place because it jumps from like genre to genre in
Yeah,
amazing ways.
Yeah, it goes from like a night movie to like Mad Max to Escape from New York to it's all over. It's weird.
Well, it starts off you're thinking you're watching some like outbreak virus, zombie movie or something. And then it goes to like Mad Max, and it goes to like it's just tonally it's all over the place, jumping from genre to genre, which I feel like was the intent. So
Yeah,
I don't begrudge it for that. I think it's pretty cool for that.
but you have to sort of be in the mood for it for me.
yeah, no, I get that too. Yeah, for sure.
But Dog Soldiers, yeah, just good practical werewolf movie. I think what honestly sort of like made this sort of the cult classic it is, because I can't think of really any other made for sci-fi movie that has a Shout Factory or Scream Factory 4K disc, is the fact that maybe it was made for Sci-Fi Channel, so it never hit theaters, but it probably got more eyes on it than it normally would have, and then using the practical effects, using the sort of, it's like a perfect product of its time, like Jason mentioned, that grainy, dark shots. You see glimpses of these wolves. You see their size, you see their heads, but you don't really. There's very few shots of like in the light, full body, and I think that helps it too. But it's just like if they would have done it earlier, they probably couldn't have made it look as good. But they did it later, they probably just would have used CGI. So, it's just sort of a perfect product of the time it came out. So
I think what makes it stand out from all the other Sci-Fi Channel films is that It's not a Sci-Fi Channel produced film. It was just
Right. Purchased by
released
them.
in the state. Yeah, released in the States on the Sci-Fi Channel, which is a bummer to think like, man, you couldn't get a better distribution deal in the States than premiering it on Sci-Fi Channel.
I'm curious how like they did the gore on. So I wonder if there has to be like a TV cut.
I
Not that anyone
guess,
would ever
but
watch
like,
it.
there's a character with his guts hanging out for over half the movie. So how do
Right.
you cut that? How do you cut around that?
Keep trying to push him back in. Yeah.
Good gore.
Which has always been the thing that has stood out from, go watching it this time around. I couldn't remember anything about it except for upright werewolves and this guy who has his guts hanging out through the whole movie.
It has an 81% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty damn good.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Very cool. All right, so what trivia do you have for Dog Soldiers?
Well, we sort of mentioned this, but there's very little CGI used in the movie because the people involved in the filming believed that CGI was being overused at the time, and that would take viewers out of the movie because they'd be focused on how the special effects looked bad rather than the story. Thus, the werewolves are animatronics and bodysuits with stilts. Speaking of the werewolves, Neil Marshall chose to use dancers to play the werewolves instead of the typical stuntmen in order to highlight their grace and elegant movements. The set was also designed size-wise to force the creatures to have to bend a bit upon entering, thereby highlighting their statuesque physiques, and they wore stilts in their costumes that made them a foot taller. And then the last little piece I have is Simon Pegg was offered a part in the film, but he turned it down after Edgar Wright asked him to save his first horror role for Shaun of the Dead.
Okay, well, I guess that's okay. I was like,
Worth
oh, but yeah, you're right, worth it.
And there's not really humor in this, so I don't know. I like Simon Pegg with some humor.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for some trivia there. Appreciate it. Let's move on to our next film. The next movie we're going to
Do we have to?
Uh-oh. Oh, no. All right, our next film, I was excited to talk about it, but it's from 2010.
Maybe.
Or 7.
Or 7.
We're not sure.
It's called Brain Dead.
Maybe we can use their phone.
That sounded like gunshots.
Zombies packing. Shooting! I've been shot!
Oh shit, is it bad?
You ever been shot when it was good?
So speaking of looking like a made for Sci-Fi Channel movie, Brain Dead from some year. No, it's not the 1990 film with Bill Pullman and Bill Paxton. No, it's not the New Zealand's version of Peter Jackson's Dead Alive.
Oh.
This Brain Dead is, well, I'm still saying from 2010. Directed by Kevin Tenney. Night of the Demons, Witchboard, one of my favorite horror directors. And the film is about 6 people trapped in a deserted fishing lodge with a host of alien-infected, mutant, amoeba-controlled zombies trying to kill them. I have a bad feeling I'm probably the only one that likes this movie.
In the world.
I was going to say, not just on the show. I'm not sure that you think the director likes this.
I thought it was fun. I mean, the acting is bad.
And the cinematography.
Cinematography is not
the
good,
writing is horrible.
but it's got some fun gore and like
It has nudity.
It's got a lot of nudity, a lot of boobage. I thought it was fun. The main guy, for every 10 bad jokes he tells, there's at least one that's funny. Like that last one there where he's talking about being shot, and she's like, "Is it bad?" And it's like, "When is it ever good, right, and to be shot or whatever?" See, and he delivered it really well, way better than me. So I thought he was okay. But yeah, I mean, I know it's like super low budget, and Kevin does not do a very good job of trying to hide its budget. But I like the preacher character. I thought all that stuff with him was funny.
Ugh.
Him and his assistant being just really a really gross individual.
Having sexual tension.
Yeah. And again, I thought the effects were cool and the gore was good. It was done by Gabe Bartalos, who I'm a fan of as well. So
What has Gabe done?
He did the Basket Case sequels and Brain Damage. He worked on Friday the 13th Part 6. He's done a lot of stuff. I'm blanking on other stuff he's done right now. But I remember this movie. I bought it on DVD a long time ago when it came out. It was a blind buy. I don't remember where I bought it.
I wish I was blind after I bought it.
And I bought it because I saw Kevin Tenney's name on the box and I saw Gabe Bartalos' name on the box. And I'm like, oh, it's a great combination. So, but I had fun with it, and you guys, I guess, did not. Let's find out.
Well, it's written by Dale Gilenu, who previously wrote one episode of Moonlighting in 1986. He has 2 writing credits. One episode of Moonlighting and Brain Dead.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty impressive that. Anyways. Yeah, Kevin Tenney. It's sort of a bummer. Like, speaking of directors that started off and had some decent movies. But he also did Pinocchio's Revenge and
Yeah, not a big fan of Pinocchio's Revenge. I mean, I like a lot of his movies. Again, Night of the Demons is amazing. I love Witchboard. I even really, 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 really like Witch Trap, which is kind of a forgotten film and a lot of people probably forgot it for good reason. And he's got...
How is Demolition University?
It's okay. It's
You've
all
actually
right.
seen it?
Yeah, I have it on DVD.
Oh shit! That's Corey Haim.
Yep, Corey Haim. Yep. The Cellar, which
The Cellar's fucking awesome.
is really good. However, the version Jason I saw was an unseen director's cut. So I don't know. I have a copy of it on VHS and haven't watched what the released version looks like. So who knows?
Well, what's the story behind that?
It's a family that lives kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Cuts, I think is what he's asking.
Oh, the story behind the cuts.
Yes. Like, how did you see a director's cut?
Oh, how did we see it? It played at this. Yeah,
well, that's what I'm wondering.
It played at this thing called, what was it? B Movie Monster
Celebration.
B Movie Celebration, out in Indiana. Justin Beam worked on the first couple years of that, and so we tagged along with him, and that was one of the movies that was playing at that festival. And Kevin Tenney was there to present it. So he brought his own personal single print, director's cut print of the film, the only copy apparently in existence or whatever. So that's the version we got to see because Kevin Tenney was there. And Kevin Tenney had a couple films in that festival that weekend. He made some children's Bigfoot movie.
Oh yeah, that wasn't bad.
Yeah, which that wasn't too bad either. And so his career is just kind of weird, and the fact that like I kind of always been kind of fascinated to know the trajectory of his career. Is he just like one of those directors for hire, or does he seek out certain projects, or You know what I mean? So
Bigfoot is from 2009, and Bigfoot looks a lot like Harry from
It
Harry and the
does.
Hendersons.
yeah, I
very
think
much.
the costume was
He, like,
repurposed.
I was gonna say, did they rebuy it? Jeez, it
And like
looks
the
Kinda.
although it looks a lot like Harry from Harry and the Hendersons, but the head is too big. I do remember the head being like
not
oversized.
proportionate.
Yeah.
I like the tagline: "Friendships can get a little hairy."
But like all of that is true, but like the movie was still kind of good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
For a kid, for like a after school special kind of movie.
Yeah, and some direct-to-video
Yeah.
children's Bigfoot movie.
It's dumb.
Holy crap! Sorry, not to open a new tab, but I'm just reading a review of Bigfoot on IMDb.
Uh-oh.
Take the original Bigfoot costume from Harry and the Hendersons, a good movie.
Oh, no.
Gray the hair around the jowls and darken the lines in the face. Guess what? You now have the main character in this flick with none of the humanity. This film is directed like one of those bad hillbilly movies. What was his name? He died of lung cancer a while back. Anyways, it's nearly unwatchable.
Jesus.
Directed by a moron, written by a
ouch.
cretin. Beware.
Well, that reviewer is very wrong because Kevin Tenney is very much still alive.
Trolls
says-
be trolling.
Yeah.
Directed like those bad hillbilly movies. I don't know what that means. I don't know what they're referring to, but you're wrong.
You know what? It's one thing to not like a film, but just to flat out insult the people that made it is. We'd like to see this guy make a movie.
But the other two reviews are 8 and 10 stars. Hilarious.
Oh, nice.
Bigfoot is the man, and someone else says really cute.
Yeah.
It's true. He is the man, and it is really cute.
But
But we're talking about Brain
not
Dead.
a fan of Brain Dead, Ted?
No.
Okay.
There's like a certain, like this era of films. I'm glad that Dog Soldiers went like the other route because this is a few years later, but there's just like this era of, I'm trying to think of other examples, sort of like, what was that one Robert Englund was in from the South? 2001 Maniacs?
2001 Maniacs, yeah.
Yeah, just like one-liners that aren't very funny on top of one-liners that aren't very funny over and over again, and that's like the writing. Like this preacher standing in the road with this big-tittied young girl, and he's like, well, by golly, there goes my car. And she's like, well, there's a divine intervention. It's just like, no one speaks like this. No one. This is like stereotypes, but it's not, it's just, I did like one with the two main guys. There's like the two outlaws that end up in this cabin that sort of take them hostage. The one that was less crazy that the girls are sort of falling for.
Yeah, the one that's pretty much the lead.
Yeah, he's like the only good actor in this. He was actually pretty good, pretty funny, and like he knew how to like he knew how timing works and how dialogue works and how to and it just to me was so jarring that he knew how it worked and apparently no one else did, so it made everyone else look way worse when they're next to him.
Yeah, that's true.
For me, that was the thing, was like this, either this guy's like fantastic or everybody's just so bad it's making him look better. But either way, the gap between like when you have one guy who knows what he's doing and the rest don't. But I mean, there's worse ways to spend an hour or 45 or however long this was. Cause like I said, at least there's nudity and some gore. So I literally hit play on it. And the first thing I thought was like, is this like a Windows 98 screensaver? Like that really bad meteor flying through the space. It reminded me of that old pinball game on Windows. And literally the moment I hit play, it's playing some like 2000s new metal or something while this CGI asteroid floats through the sky. Not even 30 seconds in, Nikki's like, is this a podcast movie?
Of course.
And I'm like, yep. And she's like, I guess I'll go sit out in the blistering sun and blind myself rather than being here. She didn't say that, but
join you?
Yeah.
So mean. Well, I mean, when that gigantic asteroid comes all the way down from the heavens and
hit the
into
fishing buddies.
atmosphere and then lands on this guy's head. Just like, what the fuck? I'm somewhere in between these two. I agree that it's not that great, maybe, but it's not for me. But I also had I had fun with it. It was easier for me to deal with it when I can just be like, oh, this isn't too far of some shitty movie we'd make. I mean, on one hand, I'm like, how the mighty have fallen, Kevin Tenney. What happened here? And there's a story, I'm sure, but maybe not. It makes me, wonder the question of like, do you like the movie more because you know it's Kevin Tenney, or would you like it less if you didn't know it was Kevin Tenney? Like, that has to inform it somehow, right?
Maybe more in the fact that, because a lot of the acting is so bad, and the budget is so low because the film just does not look good. That knowing it's Kevin Tenney got me over that hump to continue on and then enjoy what I did enjoy from it.
Right. I think I gave the movie more credit because it was to Kevin Tenney, whether it probably didn't deserve it. But all the actors are fine. I mean, the main dude. Yeah, I thought he was funny half the time, but in my head, I was pretending he was somewhere between the older brother in Boy Meets World and Dean Cameron. Just like somewhere in between there.
Okay.
So like I had to do that to make him funnier in my head. And who doesn't like to see boobies? So I could. and
there is a lot.
There's a lot.
There's like what,
A
4
lot
or
of
5? There's like
full
about-
frontal.
There's like six or seven female characters in this movie, and every single one of them gets naked at one point.
Which I appreciate, because if you're gonna have one, have them all. But I don't know about you guys, but I was definitely in my head hearing Andy's review jumping on and being like, I fucking love this movie. There's titties everywhere. There's gore and titties. I love this movie.
Or him going, well, sorry, Mike, but
But yeah, I didn't realize it was Gabe until you said so just now, but the effects are extreme and good. I mean, it's fucking off-putting the first time that guy blows the cop's head off. You're just like, oh my God, that doesn't match any of what you've been leading me up to.
right.
Like, it's
almost like goofy, humorous horror, and then a fucking head explodes.
Yeah, it's kind of irresponsible dick move for a director to like not warn you for that. That's how I take it. So like, I didn't appreciate it, but then after you're like, well, I guess that's what kind of movie it is. And then all the gore after that was like, holy shit, that's a lot of gore. I mean, you're just grabbing someone's head and pulling it in half. That's always fun. And yeah, and punching somebody through the face. I've done that before. That's that's a good time. So I definitely stayed for the gore and the boobs, but yeah, just
It's not much. Not much.
There wasn't much left
else after that. Yeah.
Brain dead.
Yeah. What trivia is there for this one?
Some real great stuff.
I don't believe you.
There was like 3 pieces, and I chose 2 of them. Shot in 4 weeks, which is 3 weeks longer than I would have assumed. The temperature peaked at well over 100 degrees inside the cabin throughout the shooting of this movie.
I'm not surprised there.
That's it.
Oh. Okay.
See, I feel like those of us from the 80s era that are big horror fans have an expectation of Kevin Tenney based on Witchboard and Night of the Demons, when honestly, if you go back and watch those movies, there's more nostalgia to those movies, nostalgia love, than, because all of his films have issues.
Sure.
And it's usually budgetary, which makes me, again, wonder his trajectory as a director. Like, who's producing these films, and are they seeking him out to direct, or is he he gets a project in his lap and wants to make that movie and seeks out a producer to make it? That's where I'm wondering, because he kind of reminds me, and this could be because of that B movie celebration thing, but he has always reminded me as kind of like a more talented Fred Olen Ray. You know?
Yep, absolutely.
The quality is still down there, but
like him and
the
Jeff
skills
Burr
are better.
like just a little better than that C movie.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm realistic about that, but that is also kind of part of what I love about him and his movies. And I do still have tons of nostalgia for those early films.
Dude, speaking of bad directors, we totally didn't talk about Jim Wynorski. Jim Wynorski's in this movie, and when
that's right. Yeah.
And when I saw his name, I'm like, "Fuck, this is gonna suck." He's such a shitty director. No, but I actually did.
Hey.
I thought he did a good job. Really,
he was. Yeah, he was kind of one of the highlight.
For real,
of it, yeah.
I mean, his character didn't do shit. He just but like, I was like, all right, Jim Wynorski's acting and like being visible and on screen and doing it, and I was like, fuck yeah, that was awesome.
I just wonder if like there's a
I
couple
assume it was favors, but...
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a couple. I think there's a couple of possibilities there. It's either one, Kevin calls up Jim. He's like, Jim, I got this part. I would love for you to play it. And Jim's like, I'm not really an actor. I don't really want to. But Jim, there's boobs. I'll be there. Or it's vice versa. It's like, Jim, can you help me get boobs for this movie? If you give me a part,
exactly. It's probably that one, but yeah.
Who do you go to when you want to get boobs in your movie?
Exactly.
Jim Wynorski.
That's right. That's awesome.
All right. Very cool. Now that I've insulted a couple of my favorite directors, I've insulted 3 of my favorite directors. If they're out there listening, I love you guys. Anyway, Jason, what's the next movie we're going to talk about?
The next movie we're going to talk about is from all the way back to February. When this came out, it's Knock at the Cabin.
Are we going to sing along?
Yes, of course!
I wanna put on my boogie shoes.
Yeah!
I wanna put on my boogie shoes. Boogie with you.
My name's Leonard. Well, it's nice to meet you, Wen.
Why are you here?
I suppose I'm here to make friends with you. And your dad's too. But my heart is broken.
Why is it broken?
Because of what I have to do today.
There I see a woman carrying something that looks like a pick with a chain and a mallet in it.
You see, the 4 of us have a very important job to do. In fact, it might be the most important job in the history of the world. We were called and are united by a common vision, which has now become a command that we cannot ignore. The 4 of us are here to prevent the apocalypse. Your family has been chosen to make a horrible decision. If you fail to choose, the world will end.
I almost don't have to read now after that. While vacationing at a remote cabin in the woods, a young girl and her parents are taken hostage by 4 armed strangers who demand they make an unthinkable choice to avert the apocalypse. Confused, scared, and with limited access to the outside world, the family must decide what they believe before all is lost. Directed by one of my favorite directors of all time, M. Night. That's right. And apparently it's adapted from a book, The Cabin at the End of the World, which I don't read and don't know anyone who's read it, but I hear from those who have read it that it's a really good fucking book.
The book's better. I haven't read it, but
Sure.
that's what everybody who reads
That's
says.
so better. Stars. Dave Bautista. We'll just start with him.
Fuck yeah.
Dude, what I love this guy's career so much.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not saying I watched wrestling a lot, but I was watching when he came into the ring, or when he came into WW, whatever it was. So like, and at the time, like I just somehow, I really liked him. That's too many letters, I know.
I'm just doing the initials. WWWI. W. WWWIW.
Even then, I was like, that fucking guy is cool, and I like him.
But you never thought, like, this is going to be
No
a guy who
fucking
takes
way.
dramatic roles and can make you cry in movies.
And
yeah.
And so you see him in some of the first things, action star. You're like, of course, the dude's bigger. He's an action figure.
He's huge, tattooed, bald guy. Yeah,
he's He-Man. But then, like, and then you notice in Guardians that the dude's got a sense of humor that's really good.
Really good.
And
Always been impressed.
And then he
great
almost,
comedic timing, yeah.
Yep.
And then he almost, is only, action and comedy, and you're like, no, he's not going to get like a straight dramatic role. What could he do it? And he got it, and he fucking did it, man. You could hear that trailer, like,
yeah.
you just love this guy. He's so great.
He's so subdued and like, I mean, he's my favorite part of this movie.
Yes.
And just his sincerity in his character.
Yes.
Like, you could have done this character with that, like, trying to be sympathetic, but like as a manipulation move. But you just know everything he's saying to the little girl there in the beginning.
Believe it.
Everything he's saying to the couple throughout the entire movie is 100% sincere, and he's carrying this burden with him that he has to do this and feels like shit about it.
Yep. Yeah, and he's just so fun to watch everything. And then then we got Rupert Grint.
Ron Weasley.
We got Ron Weasley's in it, which is great.
Shit, that was him, wasn't it?
Michael. You don't really Harry Potter.
Raymond.
Who's that?
I cut that out. When I watch movies, I subdue myself into the movie and the story.
Oh,
I
what
don't
the fuck
sit
ever.
around thinking
Whatever. Did you write that down, Tad, so we can call him out on it next time he does it 10 times? But I'm so happy for him that he's
finally
getting out
there,
getting a job that's not anything close.
And then, spoiler alert, he's the first to go, and I'm like, fuck,
I was
man.
bummed by that. Yeah,
me too.
And I suppose that's a great way to get your audience in and pissed off and shaken up and all that. But god damn it, like I was rooting for it. Well, not for him, I guess, but
rooting for
nice
the actor
to
to have more screen time.
Yes. And then I didn't really know any of the others. That girl was amazing.
But they're all good.
It's very well casted and acted, and
even the little girl,
she was
fantastic.
So good.
Yeah.
She's adorable, and it makes me sad. Like, I like it's hard to make me like really care about people, and like I cared on both sides of it. Where I was like, I cared for the couple, but I also Batista sold it so well that I'm like, fuck, like I care about him because he's so sincere, and they don't want to be here, they don't want to be doing this, but like whether it was at the beginning, I'm like, whether this is like a cult that has convinced them of this, or if it's really everything they're saying is absolutely true. Either way, I feel for them because they don't want to be doing what they're doing.
Everyone there had the unthinkable choice, and that's drama, man. That's tension. And it was done so well because you don't know. You didn't know. You don't. It goes to the end before you're like even know what the hell's real or not real. It's
even
walking that line is so great.
Even when they're proving, what they're saying is going to happen is happening, you're still like,
but here's some reasons why
these guys crackpots or what's going on.
And because it's so new still, maybe we shouldn't, get.
Yeah, I'm trying to be.
But yeah.
Well, I have.
Well, if you haven't seen this, just don't. I mean, we
this
all
is
liked
on
it.
Peacock.
It's on
streaming that.
It's on. It's
cool
on.
stuff.
I watched it on Prime. It's on Prime now.
Oh, cool.
So if you haven't seen this, I guess we should all say before we start spoiling things that we really liked it. I think we all really liked it and highly recommend it.
Absolutely.
So go and then hit pause, go watch it, and then come back and listen to our spoilers.
Yeah,
because it's going to be hard to talk about this without spoiling anything.
I have one thing that I can't help but spoiling in some of my notes.
Yeah, I mean, we've given them ample warning and time.
Yeah.
Warnings and time, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, go.
Oh, I didn't know if you were done.
I'm done.
Oh, okay. So, I just last week I was in Vegas, and I watched this
on the plane.
No,
Mike.
No, I watched this the day before I had to fly out.
Good.
Oh,
so
fun!
So throughout the movie, we are.
Every time you hit turbulence, you're like, "Fuck, I'm going down."
To not be overly spoilery, there's disasters that happen that are proving this oncoming apocalypse. The first one is the spread of this virus, right? Well, shit, we've all been through
that.
The second one is like fires, all these fires happening, and
just happened in Maui.
Just some big ones that just happened. Absolutely, the Maui one. Third one. Planes falling from the sky.
So it's your turn, Mike.
I'm like, fuck, I don't want to go now. And how amazingly terrifying were those shots of those planes falling from the sky, too.
Shit.
One of M. Night's signature things for me that people don't talk about. I mean, they do talk about the scene in Signs, the alien at the birthday party and shit. But when he does stuff like this, like found footage stuff within his movies, or he did a found footage movie, but it's it's fucking jarring. It's scary.
Oh yeah, he knows how to do just those little bits.
Yeah,
and that are utterly terrifying. It's like any plane disaster things in movies have ever gone. That's that scene, which is played on a TV, mind you, too, is probably one of the most terrifying.
Which adds to it to me because it's like you're putting it in the context of a news footage makes it makes your mind plays tricks in your mind where it's like even your mind almost believes like this is real.
Yeah. I think that's what he's going for when he does that. Yeah. I really really liked it too. I'm like Jason. I am an M. Night fan. I think he's probably a bigger M. Night fan because there's still a couple in his filmography that don't gel with me. But ever since his little comeback when he did The Visit, it's been bangers ever since. Oh well, I take that back.
I haven't seen Old.
I didn't care for. The concept was cool. The story was cool. I could just not get past the first half of the movie, where the framing was intentionally off center. But it just was very jarring to me, thinking that the whole time my aspect ratio on my TV was off. Because I know what he was doing. He's not trying to reveal people's faces and them getting older and stuff like that. But it was just bad framing. It just took me out. It was an
artistic choice.
I know it was an artistic choice. It was an artistic choice that did not work for me in following his story. So by the time we do get to see people's faces, I was kind of out. Anyway. Regardless, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this one, and it was good.
I really really liked it. My only regret is not seeing it in theaters because this would have been fun in theaters.
Good.
And I'm glad. Thank you, Mike, for picking it. So that because I have a hard time just watching a movie I want to watch unless I have motive, and
Oh, yeah, me too.
on this episode. So thank you for also introducing a movie that I could have Nikki come sit and watch with us. I was like, yeah, she was she really liked it. Yeah, she loved it. I figured she would, just like from the trailers. I was like, I sort of get the vibe of this. It's like one of the prettiest M. Night movies. Like, looks really good, beautiful, well shot. You can tell that he had a budget for this, which is nice. I think probably basing it on a popular book helps, and having some bigger names. But like you said, taking some Batista, who, you know, yeah, it's hard to say. He's not an unknown guy. He's a pro wrestler turned comedic actor, but he was in a superhero movie. And like Jason sort of said all that earlier, but like to take the next step, the next risk, and put him in a very serious, dramatic role without a tinge of humor. And he really is the heavy in this and has to carry it. He is like the focus of this thing. He knocked it out of the park. And again, to see Mr. Ron Weasley, he is. I've always felt like it's like a blessing and curse for those actors. Like Daniel Radcliffe, he decided to go the other way and just like do whatever the fuck he wanted, which is like a bunch of really cool indie films and things that would never be expected of him. I don't feel like maybe
doesn't always work out that way.
No, you know, and it's like it's easy to say, you know, oh, he gets to do this, but it's like most of the cast from these films has struggled beyond this, and especially Rupert has a very recognizable face. But apparently, did you really not recognize him, Mike?
No, I honestly, it didn't even click.
So what's crazy is like today we're recording this. The day before this, yesterday, I was at work and I was sitting there eating lunch with my boss, and I said, you know, oh, I watched Knock at the Cabin over the weekend. He's like, I did too. I'm like, holy shit, what are the odds? And he's like, I'm talking about it. And I'm like, so how about like Rupert Grint, like finally getting another big role after Harry Potter? He's like, that was Ron Weasley? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I had no idea. I'm like, he looks exactly the same. He's like, but he's like, maybe it's just like he's so good. Like I just didn't, think about it. Like it's been so long since I've seen him, and now he's like a full grown adult. And I'm like, that's good though. That says that his acting was so good that you moved past it. And I hope that continues for him, because he really is a good actor, and all the other stuff he's doing, he just hasn't had the opportunities as, Daniel and whatever Hermione. But
have you guys seen him in that show Sick Note?
No, but Corey, I believe, has told me all about it.
It's a good show, and I mean, I recognized him when I watched that. But well, I mean, he's kind of the star of it. But
I think we've
it's
had
good. It's funny. I would recommend it.
Yeah, we had this discussion at one of the Cracktastic Plastic Cons, and Corey was like, "You've never seen Sick Note? He's really good in that." And I'm like, "I haven't, but like, it's one show, man. Like,
Corey's a Harry Potter freakazoid, though.
Yeah, so I just hope that Rupert keeps getting good roles. Yeah. And I was happy, spoiler, that like not only like he went pretty quick, but then we got some flashbacks of his character. Which, did that ever materialize to anything? Did I miss something?
I kind of felt like I was wondering the same thing, if I missed something too, because I'm in the same boat as you. It felt like it didn't lead anywhere, and it almost felt like by the end was M. Night like pranking us by having him connected to the couple, but then never address it again.
Right, because
it
seemed like we were leading to something like, oh, these people all have a connection to the couple somehow.
Yeah, and it almost felt like it was M. Night saying, hey, remember all you fuckers out there who think I'm the twist guy? Well, guess what? No twist. I'm setting it up, but fuck you. I'm not giving you anything.
But at the end, Nikki was like, well, what's the twist? And I'm like, well, they're the spoiler, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And she's like, well, that's not really, like, that's just a story. That's not a twist. I'm like, well, it's a big thing at the end, a reveal, and I don't know.
Yeah, all of his movies are a story and not a twist.
Thank you.
But Jason, do you have any explanation as to, like, having this one character out of the 4 connected to them?
No, I never. never.
Other
really-
than it making it less believable, like making the couple believe more so that this is like a hoax and that they just used it to. They were just use this as an excuse to come kill a couple gay guys.
Maybe that was the point of it. Yeah, that's.
But it's weird to have
but it
one
still
connect
doesn't-
and not. Yeah.
It's not a very It's not a very strong point.
Oh yeah, well you never know either too with like producers' notes and editing and studios and
True.
maybe it was filmed and it didn't. I don't know.
True.
And having not read the book, I really didn't look in any further to see, but.
Which, it's such an insignificant scene that it's like it doesn't detract from
Right.
the whole movie. So
I
still think it's a middle finger from M. Night, personally.
I think there were like I remember when the trailers and stuff came out, people were big mad about it because they didn't feel like the author of the book was getting enough like kudos, like his
Right.
name wasn't enough in it, and I'm like, I'm sure he's like wiping his tears away with the millions of dollars they
Yeah.
bought it for. To have your book adapted by M. Night and to have this cast like, and I don't even if it's not I can't compare the story to the movie, but it's a damn good movie. So
And
he
most
should be
adapted
stoked.
films don't do that. So why suddenly
Right.
get butthurt about this one? Granted, it won lots of awards and is popular, but
Yeah,
come on now.
Yeah.
I think people are just sort of like they want everyone to know that they read it, so they put it.
That
th-
must
this
be-
is-
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
They're not crediting my favorite author enough.
But to piggyback on what you said, fuck the internet. So like, all you fucks. I'm
Jeez.
when I Google this movie, and some descriptions and casts come up, and then just the Google reviews here. It's just like 5, 4, 3, 2, and then just a million ones, and I'm just like, fuck all you guys, you hating fucking dicks.
I've heard, people like
Why?
after this
is
came out, were sort of
awesome.
shitting on it, and I'm like, what do you not like about this?
I don't get it.
I just think
Trolls be trolling.
the trolls have put such a stigma on M. Night that like
Which they have.
Yeah, and it's bullshit. And
But like people I know on Facebook were posting like it was all right. I'm like, this is good.
This
Like
is
what?
good.
What do you want? What do you want?
If this isn't good, your expectations are impossible to meet, sir.
I loved it, man.
Good, me too.
kind of hoping we reach an age where he can continue to make movies, but the generations have gotten to the point where they have never seen The Sixth Sense, and so now there's no more M. Night expectation.
I know it. Someday.
Just let him make a movie.
Exactly. And you know what? And you know what? Sixth Sense isn't even his best movie, so screw you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, will Weezer ever be able to, write an album that's not compared to Blue Album or Pinkerton? I don't know, guys, but
It's a good point. It's a good point.
this is
It's almost exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
It's good. It is.
Sorry he came out of the gates with a fucking great movie and
so
you guys
sorry.
can't get over it.
Can't handle it.
Yeah.
Is there any trivia on this thing?
Oh, there's a million things, but I have some interesting ones that I pulled. At the premiere in some cinemas, at the entrance of the theater, the spectators were asked to give up something they cared for the entire duration of the film in exchange for a gift at the end. If you chose yes, then your smartphone was bagged and sealed. By handing over the still sealed envelope at the exit, you received a prize. The initiative read, "Make your choice. You'd give up one of the things you care most for the duration of the film. Prove it. Your sacrifice could be rewarded."
Fuck yeah, that's awesome.
That's a cool gimmick.
So
I like that.
making you choose, like they had to choose,
awesome.
in the
Did
movie.
it say what the prize was?
No.
Okay.
Probably like a postcard or something.
All right, a
Something
sticker.
crappy. Yeah.
That's cool, though.
This is really cool because it relates to exactly what we're talking about. In a 2023 interview with Screen Rant, M. Night Shyamalan explained how he came to cast Dave Bautista. This is a quote from M. Night. "I thought, this is an impossible role. A giant who can emote and do 30 pages of monologue. This doesn't exist. This person doesn't exist." And then I was like, wait a minute. What about the guy in Blade Runner 2049? I don't know much about wrestling, so it wasn't like I had this in my head. And probably if I did, I might have been blinded by the fact that this person was an amazing actor. They said his name was Dave Bautista, and so I reached out, and then Dave reached out, and then we met. And when I spoke to him, I found a human being who is ready to start over again, take away all the success he had, and unlearn it and start over. He just wanted to be proud of himself, and I was like, I'm down, brother. Let's do it right, the right way from the beginning to end. And he's like, I don't know if I can do this, and I go, but I do.
Aw,
nice.
Love that.
So he had no, like, I just love, like, they both believed in each other. Like, let's do this, man. That one gave me a little bit of goosebumps reading, so I loved it. The initial screenplay draft by Steve Desmond and Michael Sherman was voted onto the 2019 Blacklist as one of the most popular unproduced screenplays of the year. And then finally, which I think we all saw but didn't mention, director M. Night Shyamalan has a cameo in an air fryer infomercial that briefly appears on TV before the first news report.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He always
I
ends
kinda
up in
forgot
his
about
movies.
his little cameo. Yeah. But this one, he kept it really insignificant this time. So
Yeah.
a little more Hitchcockian cameo than
Yep.
full on being part of the storyline.
Yeah.
But still, for me, it's like, fuck yeah, he's in there. Good. You go, buddy.
Oh yeah, I
Love it.
I like that. I like any director that has
A theme.
a little signature that will tell you that it's their movie. And for him, one of many of his little signatures, and one of many is him popping in there somewhere.
Yep.
And it's not an ego thing. It's just it's
It's a fun little thing he
fun little
does.
thing, yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. I
Nope.
mean, Kevin Tenney has his own signature. His movies aren't good.
Oh, come on.
Knew it.
Kevin Tenney is awesome.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, let's move on from that.
Yes.
That is it for our vacation here at Attack of the Killer Podcast Cabin. But we still have more show to go. So when we come back, we're going to wrap things up with a couple of segments. First, you're going to hear a promo for our podcast network called the Prescribed Films Podcast Network.
That sounds cool.
It does. The PFPN is home to over 30 different shows, including the Bad Movie Bunny podcast, where every episode reviews horror movies, but the screams you hear are your own. You can check them out. You can check out the Bad Movie Bunny podcast and all the other shows at thepfpn.com. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal: providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to the show. And now it's time to hear from you guys, the listeners. Here's Jason with shout-outs.
It's time for
Shout-outs! 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 Shout-outs!
All right. We asked, what are your favorite cabin horror movies? It's a good question.
It's a great question.
Let's see what the folks had to say. Up first on our Facebook page, we got attacker Andrew Moeller.
Woo!
Yeah, he doesn't comment too much. I'm glad to see him on here.
Yeah.
He says, Secret Window. This one took a second watch for me to really enjoy it. I'm on the one watch, so I might need that second one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've only seen it one time, and I don't really remember much. Yeah.
Oh, and then he says one of maybe the greatest of all time, The Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is kind of a cheat since we don't get to the cabin till the end. And yes, it's more of a house out in the middle of the woods, but the short time we spend there flickers in your brain long after the screen fades to black. A fun one is Zombievers. Yes, Zombie Beavers. It's fun. We did that for a watch party. It was a good time. And last but not least, yes, exists a cautionary tale of not to piss off Bigfoot.
That movie is great. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
That's
it's
good.
one of my favorite Bigfoot movies.
Mhm.
It's definitely my favorite Bigfoot found footage movie. Sorry, Bobcat, but I like Hollow Creek, but Exist is awesome.
And then commenting on that is attacker Emily. She says, "Oh, Zombievers is so good." I wouldn't. I mean,
Zombievers, yeah. I mean, it has Courtney Palm's titties, so right on.
Then we got attacker Jacob McLaughlin says, "It's such an obvious answer, but Evil Dead 2 is my favorite movie overall."
I'm surprised we got this far without any Evil Dead talk.
Yeah.
I mean, a living cabin. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's The Cabin is evil. But I want to also give a shout out to the excellent and claustrophobic Knock at the Cabin from earlier this year.
There you go.
Jacob, you got it. Thank you. Up next is attacker Emily with her own comment. She says, "Hatchet."
Yes.
Yep. Don't go in that cabin.
Victor Crowley.
And then she also says, Tucker and Dale.
Yep, that's
I've
right.
been waiting to hear about. I've been waiting for somebody to bring up that one
I
too.
know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And then up next, we got Timothy Lennerer who says, "Oh, geez, it's a massive pile up of movies all coming to mind at the same time." So here's a list. The Cabin in the Woods.
Yep.
Evil Dead 2. Tucker
heard of
and
it.
Dale.
Yeah.
The first Blair Witch Project.
Mhm.
The Cabin takes its sweet time showing up, but that ending is perfect.
Yeah, it is.
Wrong Turn.
Okay.
Dog Soldiers.
Yep.
Shriek of the Mutilated.
Okay.
And an argument could be made for the Antarctic Research Station and John Carpenter's take on The Thing also having cabins in it. Kind of. Yeah, it counts. It totally counts. Tad, ruling.
Yeah, sure.
Good answer.
That'd be saying like Flight of the Living Dead because it takes place in an airplane cabin.
Cabin.
It's a cabin.
They sleep in it. Okay, moving on. We you remember the Bad Movie Bunny podcast you were talking about?
Heard of it.
Yeah, well, here's the host, Lisa. She says,
Hey, Lisa.
She's attacker, Lisa. She says, Evil Dead and the first Blair Witch Project.
Sweet.
I like the second installments of both as well.
Yes.
Good
Book of
answer.
Shadows.
Blair Witch 2, Ted. Suck it. Up next.
Click.
Up next, I was going to do a bad segue. Speaking of sucking it, we got. No, I'm just kidding. But I didn't say that
I
because
can't wait to hear who this
because
next
it's
person
attacker
is.
Brian. It's Brian Clark. Why would I say that?
I was going to say,
I know.
you should have saved that for Godzill's
I
message.
should.
I'm
I
sure.
should have. But it didn't happen right. It was right. It's unfortunate timing. Brian says ticks.
Yes. Yes, Tix is great.
Speaking of sucking.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Night of the Demon.
Yeah, another Bigfoot movie.
And Frostbiter.
I've not seen Frostbiter.
Oh, man. I'm sorry, Brian. I know you're going to yell at me when you hear this. I'm just sorry. And then lastly, on our Facebook page, we got Attacker Rose with the great answer.
Okay.
Knock at the Cabin.
There you go.
She gets it, man. She gets
right.
it. Over in the Facebook group, that's Attack of the Killer Podcast Group Edition, we have a couple. Oh. Did I do this? Oh, shit. It's the same.
What?
My bad. I was in the wrong one.
Oh,
2 seconds.
were you in the group first?
Because I'm like, oh, look, there's Brian and Rose again. What are they doing commenting in both? Oh, that's just me being dumb. Again, sorry, Brian. Over on the front page, oh, yeah, it's attacker Casey Kelderman. He says, Cabin Fever. Makes me want pancakes every time I watch it.
Yes.
Yep. Yep. Have we done
Even if
that
Cabin Fever 2 is better, but it's not in the cabin. So
No.
Ty West, guys.
I know.
You
I
can't-
love Ty West, but
You can't
man,
deny.
Every time I try to give Cabin Fever another chance, I shut it off, man. Cabin Fever 2.
Well, there's nothing on X, but over on Instagram, we got one more comment. We got old school video. It's the Reapster. Dead Snow is my pick for this one.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
And Madman as well, because summer camps use cabins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madman's okay.
It's all right. Hey, the Reapster likes it. I like it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That statement's not true, by the way.
I was gonna say.
I take it back.
I love
immediately.
you, Reed, but
All right. Well, we got one more thing. We got a voicemail over there. What's that? What is that?
Hey, everybody, it's Hacker Brian here for my bi-weekly phone call, and it sounds like we're talking cabin horror. I'm standing outside. It's dark out. Moon's coming up over the trees, and there's no light out here. And Jason might be coming up from the back of my yard to get me. So we can always go any of the Friday the 13th series. I mean, most of them happen in the cabin. Even part 5, which is set in the house. Ma Jr. live in the cabin, right? I mean, we got Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead 3 kind of starts in the cabin. That's my favorite. Tucker and Dale, Zombievers, Misery. He's stuck in a cabin. I mean, you could pick almost any movie. Has a cabin in it. Hell. I might even live in the cabin. Well, I don't, but it's a house. But hell, throw some wood on the side to this cabin. Hope you guys have a good week. Take care. Bye-bye.
This got so drunk. What is
There's something's going on.
What? Yeah, Brian, you can list every movie ever made with a cabin in it. And no, I'm not in your backyard, so forget it. But anyway, thank you.
Evil Dead 3 is his favorite cabin in the woods movie.
What's up with this guy? Love you. So everyone else, you all can leave a voicemail. Just give us a call. 415-952-6857. That's 415-95-AOTKP. Leave us your voicemail. Please give us options to Brian's rants. That would be great. And that is shout-outs. But we're not done yet. One more segment to go. It's time for Insane's Picks.
When a lot of people think about John Waters, they think about his film Pink Flamingos, the movie that earned him the title The Prince of Puke. But there is a film in his filmography that, to me, is almost as depraved as Flamingos, only without the shit-eating, singing assholes and Divine. For this Insane's Picks, I'm going to talk to you about Desperate Living from 1977, a film that plays as a fairy tale, even with a happy ending that ends in cannibalism. Neurotic and delusional suburban housewife Peggy Gravel and her maid-slash-nurse Griselda Brown are on the run from the law after Griselda smothers Peggy's husband Bosley to death by sitting on him. They are exiled to Mortville, a filthy shanty town ruled by the evil Queen Carlotta and her treacherous daughter, Princess Coco. They rent a room from Mole McHenry, self-hating lesbian wrestler who wants a sex change operation to please her partner, her lover, Muffy. After confiscating a lottery ticket from Peggy, Mole wins the Maryland lottery and uses the money to obtain a gender reassignment surgery. However, Muffy is repulsed by Mole's new deformed penis and insists they cut it off, which Mole does. Mortville is full of social outcasts, criminals, nudists, sexual deviants who are conspiring to overthrow the evil Queen Carlotta. She banishes her own daughter Coco after she elopes with a garbage collector named Herbert, whom Queen Carlotta's guards later shoot to death. Coco hides in Peggy and Griselda's house with her dead lover. Peggy betrays Coco to Queen Carlotta's guards. Griselda fights them and dies when the house collapses on top of her. Peggy, however, joins the Queen in terrorizing her subjects, even infecting them and Princess Coco with rabies. Eventually, Mortville denizens, led by Mole, overthrow Queen Carlotta and execute Peggy by shooting a gun up her ass. To celebrate their freedom, the townsfolk roast Carlotta on a spit and serve her pig-like on platter with an apple even in her mouth. This film is full of the regular John Waters cast from this era. Mink Stoll is Peggy in her most over-the-top. Edith Massey is Queen Carlotta. Mary Vivian Pierce is Prince Coco. Susan Lowell is Mole. Then there's some newcomers to the John Waters family that seem to fit right into the crazy world of John Waters films. Liz Rennie as Muffy, Jean Hill as Griselda, and one of my favorites, George Stover, who's mostly known for being in Don Dohler films, plays the husband, Bosley Gravel. Some films that are overly shocking in their day only kind of get tamer over the years. But Desperate Living is definitely one of those films that I feel gets even more shocking over time, with such scenes as parents finding their baby left in the refrigerator, a real cooked dead rat being served during the opening credits, which was also used in the advertising for the movie, 2 fully naked children playing doctor, just to name a few of the weirdness that might be a little jarring for people nowadays. I really love this movie, and as I do for all of John Waters' filmography, it is considered the third in John Waters' trash trilogy after Female Trouble and Pink Flamingos. If the only films you know of John Waters is Hairspray, Desperate Living may not be the film to transition into seeing the rest of his stuff. But if you want fun and satirical, hilarious celebration of depravity, I highly recommend Desperate Living. And that is it, folks. That is the end of the episode. That's the end of Attack a Killer podcast for this time around. And you can find more of us on our Facebook, YouTube, whatever Twitter's called nowadays,
X,
TikTok, I refuse, and Instagram.
And Threads.
And Threads.
And Threads. What the fuck is Threads?
We'll explain it to you after.
All right. So it's time to leave the cabin. Cabins are great, but remember, igloos are always cooler. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you on the next episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast. See ya.
Oh no, could this be the end of? Attack of the Killer.